we strongly encourage partners who have a long-term vision and a long-term idea of what they want to do, in this case in the education space, that aligns with that vision of theirs. My name is Supriya. I've been with the Wipro Foundation for about 9.5 years now. And the focus, at least of my team, though Wipro does work on different domains, is on education. Our work at Wipro in the social and development domain is not very new. Our foray into this sector has happened about 20 years ago, much before the CSR law was implemented. And education happened to be one of the areas that we had chosen to focus our efforts on, along with other domains. So education, as you see, there is a large number of programs within education because it was one of the areas that we had identified at the inception, right in 2001 or so. And there are different areas that we work on both in India and overseas as well through our initiatives through different partners. I'll get into some of these programs in details, and the other domains that we work on are ecology, primary healthcare, disaster response. For each of these, there are different teams within Wipro Foundation that works towards them. There is a charter for each of them. There is a separate process that each of these entities follow. And there's a different grant review process based on the mandates that we follow for each of these. You know, it's very important for a good civil society, for a thriving civil society, to have a diverse set of civil society organizations, a vibrant set of civil society organizations. And in order to do that, constantly, as you can see amongst ourselves here, there are organizations that are relatively new, some who've been around for several years. And it's important in investing. We strongly feel that it's important in investing in capacities for all of these organizations across different domains. So these are some of the offerings. Next slide, please. That we have. We offer different workshops and mentoring support. Largely, it has been on educational areas, like I said, but mentoring support is also offered where, you know, some of our older partners work with some of our younger partners for a period of a year, year and a half or so. Help them with their operational or programmatic aspects, try to see how it can be sharpened, how it can be furthered. There are field visits and other things that we try and facilitate for these partners. There are workshops on different areas such as, let's say, maths education, language education, fundraising, visioning, that are offered by our partner, you know, the resource partners for the rest of our partner network. Next slide, please. Similar to the event today where all of you are coming together, something that we have also been trying to do since inception is try and bring our partners together over a 3-day residential meet. It's a time where all of us come together, you know, deliberate, discuss, debate, quite a lot of arguments that ensue as well, but essentially try and enrich our understanding of the education space, the social space. And it's an opportunity to meet each other, understand each other, and see if collaborations can be forged through platforms such as the Partners Forum. We also have been organizing webinars and other things as other means of, you know, other platforms where people can come together. Something else that we've been trying to do, and I think perhaps Manju and Dilip have been emphasizing the importance of this, while all of you may have come together as different cohorts, it becomes important to continue our learning beyond the 15-day program or just the graduation ceremony, right? We've also felt that it becomes very important, especially in a space like this that is constantly evolving, that our partners come together, not necessarily, you know, with us anchoring these efforts, but as a group that feel the need to continuously learn, continuously evolve, and see what new learnings and collaborations would be possible. So for all our programs at Wipro, and that would be the case for all the other funders and donors as well, right? You would generally typically go to their website, look at what programs they offer, what is the criteria that each of us have. So it's similar for Wipro as well. So while some of these aspects and criteria are things that we look across all partners, irrespective of the programs, such as a commitment to the work that you're doing, you know, the long-term visioning for the organization, a demonstrable experience of the programs that you're working on. There could be some changes in a criteria that we expect depending on the program. For example, the access to education program that we have, it's largely in areas where Wipro has its presence. So there are a set of locations that we have mentioned on the website. So if your program might align, unfortunately if it is not in the proximate locations, we may still not be able to look at it because we are bound by certain mandates and charters that we need to follow. For the seeding fellowship program that I spoke about earlier, since it's going out as fellowships to individuals, other compliance requirements such as having a 12A or an ATG or a board might not be necessary, because the idea is that they are early stage organizations. But that is not necessarily true for all our other grant programs. I think something that was spoken about earlier was how most of us are in grassroots organizations. We're not in the metro cities or may not have access to several networks who might help us, so language usually becomes a barrier. But what we try and do is see how we can minimize the language barriers, give ourselves enough room to state that there might be challenges, and since English might not be the language that most of us are comfortable with, how is it that we can understand things a little better? So as part of our grant process, one of the first steps is that we apply. That expression of interest is there on the website. People apply, give us some basic information on where you're situated, if you have your compliance requirements in place, what is the nature of the work that you do, and what program are you applying for, since we have all these different programs. And if we feel that there is an alignment or even potential for alignment, we will then request for a detailed proposal where there is further information that is sought on the nature of the program, on what you are proposing to do. Something that we strongly encourage is not for people to come back and ask us, what is it that you want us to do? We will tailor make our program to your needs. That's not something that we look at. We strongly encourage partners who have a long-term vision and a long-term idea of what they want to do, in this case in the education space, that aligns with that vision of theirs. Because only then do we feel that that change can be effected on the ground with the communities that you're working with. Our funding is also limited, right? We don't have endless funds. So the way we function is also that every year we need to put out a budget for what our year looks like. That needs to get approved by the board that I was talking about earlier. And it's with those budgets that we need to see, how many partners that we can support, how many can we continue engaging with, and what are the different other aspects that we might be able to introduce in order to help our partners do their work a little better. There's also an external due diligence that is done, which is desk-based research of the partners, just to ensure that there are no red flags and so on. Things that we do once we onboard partners, quarterly reports are sought from partners. Once the quarterly reports come in, and we understand these are again things that might not be really easy, and we've gone back and forth debating on, are these overheads actually required? But we feel that because all of you are actually working on the ground, right? It takes away some time to ensure documentation is in place, to ensure reports are coming on time. But we feel that all of these become very important to ensure good governance practices, to ensure effective implementations of the programs on the ground. So, sometimes when it does seem like it's too much from the donor side, do understand that there are certain limitations at our end. And please, at least something that we are very open to is having honest conversations with partners. Sometimes there are genuine challenges at the partner's end as well. So there might be more time that is required. Maybe a certain format isn't working. Language might be an issue. So what we've been trying to do, there's a long way to go, but at least with some of our templates and reports, etc., we've at least tried to make it bilingual in English and Hindi, to try and see if we can at least break down the barrier at least one bit at a time. And the other thing I think maybe that Dilip was also talking about are all these proposals and the 1-minute pitches. Of course, time is of essence. Time is a bit of a challenge for a lot of organizations. But at the same time, we do understand that it might be important to develop a relationship. Unfortunately, the quicker we understand what the organization is doing and try and see how it fits in with our larger mandate, the easier it becomes for us to engage in longer conversations as might be required over a period of time.